Always got to make me in charge, huh? All right.
Yep.
Okay. So this is printed and pressed. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And I'm Andrew.
And you may not know this, but we're trying to keep some kind of schedule with this podcast, and it keeps not happening. So
it's been
here we
a
are with
hectic
another
start to the year. All right,
We're still doing better than Martin is with the next Game of Thrones book. So
because at least we're still releasing more videos.
Yes.
So there's that. So today we're going to be covering the end of a series. Well, this isn't a series; it's a trilogy.
It's a recap.
The Space Trilogy, and one of the books is green, so that's kind of screwing this up. But by our favorite author, C.S. Lewis.
I said our all favorite. Of our collective favorite author. I wouldn't go that far.
No, I like him, but I don't know if I'd put him in my top 5.
I was making a joke, guys. Okay.
I mean, when you dream about him.
No, I think I'm probably done reading.
You,
I'm probably done reading C.S. Lewis for a little while
back and
now.
Forth.
Well, I think you've read all of it.
No, the only one I like that I really have on my schedule to read in the future is Mere Christianity. I've heard that one's really good.
Oh yeah, it is really good, Chris. You'll like that.
And I haven't read that one yet. I also have one on my shelf that I haven't read, and I'm surprised that I have it. It's called like The Good Christian Life or something. I don't know. It's a C.S. Lewis book. I'll probably read it. Okay. But anyways, I'm like I said, I'm done for a little while. As far as the series goes, we did recap this. We finished The Hideous Strength almost a month ago now, maybe longer. It looks like we did that one. Literally a month. The 1st of February is when we covered The Hideous Strength.
Yeah, we've had some delays and time to think about this trilogy.
Yeah. It had some lows and some medium highs.
So for anybody that's not aware, the first book in the Space Trilogy is called Out of the Silent Planet.
I mean, yes,
it's got a great name.
And the second one, it is a great name.
Silent.
Yes. The second book is Perelandra, which is the green one I've got.
Worst name.
I do like that name actually.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
The third one is called That Hideous Strength, which is actually a quote from somebody during the fall of the Roman Empire, I think. But
also a great name for a book.
I love that name actually. That's a cool name. I thought it was in here. Maybe it's not. Whatever. But basically, the 3 books are very disconnected. It's about as disconnected as they can get, other than having the same main character in all 3. And he's not even a main character in the 3rd book, but he is a main character. Does that make sense? He's not like the focal point.
He's a protagonist.
He's the protagonist. Yeah, he's a protagonist in the 3rd book. That's a good way to say it. So I think we all are very opinionated about the series after finally reading it.
Mm-hmm.
But going into this, was it worth reading?
As a whole?
Yeah, as a whole.
Like as a trilogy.
Oof. Well, I have to say that overall it is worth reading. I really despise that first book.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even know what book to compare the first one to. Honestly.
A Fever Dream.
Yeah.
A Fever Dream.
No, it's literally his worst book he's ever written.
Well, you haven't read all of them, so I wouldn't go that far.
No, I'm pretty sure it's his first book.
Well, okay.
That's like a pure fiction play. I think it might be his worst book ever.
Well, and then again, I don't know how many other fictions he has besides the Space Trilogy and Narnia.
That's what I'm saying.
Stuff. I mean, there's Screwtape Letters is kind of a fiction, like a pseudo fiction story.
I mean, it is fiction still, but yeah,
it's not the same style. It's very different,
right? I mean,
but that would still be better than
I see. Okay, let's if we compare this, let's just say to Narnia, right? Mm-hmm. As Chronicles, I would say that Perelandra is near and dear to my heart in a way that's similar to The Magician's Nephew.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes.
Where I think I get the same value of like, there's good lessons in this. It's very insightful, especially when you have the age to back up the life experience to go with what you're reading. Right.
Now, to be fair, this is written at more of an adult level than Narnia.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, when you read The Magician's Nephew, which is one of his last books he writes, right, for Narnia, it's a similar concept, though, of putting in the same elements to the story, like the different values and moral lessons, I think. This one's just a lot more grown up, obviously. And then That Hideous Strength is just all around a good book. The ending's a little weird. Lewis just got horny there for a second. And then
everybody wants to get it on at the end.
Yeah. And then but that first book, I honestly didn't like it. I mentioned in the review of it that I thought it had a lot of weird uncanny valley aspects to it that I did not appreciate from my fiction.
Sure.
Too similar but too strange.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
So let me ask you this then. If you were to have the option, you got a, 18-year-old or a 16-year-old, I guess would be a better option. A 16-year-old who's asking which C.S. Lewis group of books he should read first, the Space Trilogy or Narnia. I'm assuming you're still going Narnia.
I'm still saying Narnia.
But if you were
do they have to read all of them, or can I just pick a book out of the
I'm just saying, if the kid said, "Hey, should I read the Space Trilogy or Narnia Chronicles?"
The problem is if I give them the Space Trilogy and the first book they have to read is That Silent Planet, I think that's the biggest barrier to this trilogy. Is like if you could get really turned off by that first book.
Yeah, maybe I'd suggest reading it backwards.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
The only reason that I think the one big thing that Out of the Silent Planet has going for it is the opening to it is very sci-fi. You've got the spaceship, you got all the different things going on. You don't hit Uncanny Valley that you're talking about, Andrew,
until you're on Mars.
Until midway through the book.
Once you're on Mars.
Yeah.
Where the whole meat and potatoes of the story is.
And then you get like the Sarns, which are actually kind of cool. Really, your part that you find Uncanny Valley and unwilling, like you would not want to trudge through again, is the weird otter people.
And the way he describes the landscape is odd too.
Yeah, a little bit.
The way he describes everything is elongated and weird. It's
tried to Tolkienize something weird.
Yeah.
He tried to do the Tolkien thing.
I guess it's one of those things where he makes this other planet so similar but so different at the same time that it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Out of the Silent Planet is as strong of a finish to a book as like The Last Battle, where it's like,
don't describe it that way. I really enjoyed the hit his strength. Last Battle was terrible.
No, I'm saying that instead of ending with The Last Battle, you're starting with The Last Battle.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
No, because The Last Battle's not even that bad.
No, okay, I agree with this. Like basically every scene that has the ape and the donkey, that's what Out of the Silent Planet is.
Wait, okay. If you're just talking about the ape and the donkey portion, then sure, that's all this book is.
Yes,
but The Last Battle has a good portion of it that doesn't suck still.
Yeah,
which is why it's disappointing how he writes The Last Battle.
Yeah,
I would argue though that there are parts of this book that are pretty decent. Like I was unwilling to rate it as low as you. I have at least a little bit of love for this.
It has like 2 chapters that are good where they're having the moral lessons with the Osira, and outside of that, it is trash as a book.
I disagree with you.
Chris is dying a little bit.
I understand.
He's dying. Did you hear the gulp and like? He's like trying to hold in his.
But I understand your complaints. I can understand your complaints.
It was painful to read. Okay.
This is not the best book out of the 3. That's a fact.
Yes.
I would be willing to accept. What in the heck? The build quality. This is not as good as I remembered.
The build quality on my copy sucked.
Just look at this. Like the amount of overhang on the back is ridiculous compared to the like. Look at that. That's terrible. Yeah.
Well, the build quality on mine was losing pages, Chris. So.
Yeah, I know yours was worse.
I thought that was
that's
like
why yours is so bad.
Something. It was just like, hey, you don't actually want to read all of these pages.
Andrew's like, I'm only keeping 2/3 of the Space Trilogy. All right, so once you get past Out of the Silent Planet, though, Then you get into some very deep religious philosophy, and that's in Paralandra.
Yeah. I like Paralandra a lot for the concept and some like a lot of the scenes when you see the temptation happening in real time.
It's
But
so
again,
cool.
there's some really weird shit going on in this book.
Yeah.
I mean, even with Paralandra, it doesn't even have to be religious.
That's true. It doesn't have to be, I guess.
Because it's a way I think the whole point of how it's written is actually in a sense to almost escape the religion concept and bring it to a philosophical point in your mind where it's just like this is a creative way of telling the same moral lessons.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that because I don't think that you would get as much out of it if you didn't already know the Adam and Eve story. And we're bringing that with you.
True, but it's just I guess the story itself is like another lens on those same lessons to complement your religious background already, more so than bringing the religion into it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
I actually think that the Space Trilogy, because it was written like a good 10, 20 years before Narnia, is what leads him to write the Chronicles of Narnia. And I think initially when he was writing this, because Out of the Silent Planet, I get the vibe that a lot of the more religious elements of Out of the Silent Planet, because there's not that many, are a later addition, because this is around the time I think that C.S. Lewis actually goes through his conversion, was when Out of the Silent Planet was written. I could be wrong about that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, now I'm curious what year he became a Christian.
But I mean, that book is my one complaint with Paralandra is that the ending is a bit elongated.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's the one book where the ending is a slog.
Yeah, this
Which
is
is
the
so
one. This is the
unlike
one he needed a page count for this book.
Yeah. Because usually when he hits that ending, he's just like, "Oh, gotta end it." And then this one, he was just like, "Yeah, let me add 2 more pages. I can add 2 more pages, a couple more pages."
So he became Christian in 1931, and I'm curious what year this book came out.
It was in the 40s, I thought.
No, I know Space Trilogy is earlier than that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, hold on.
Am I thinking Narnia in that? Is in the 40s, 50s?
That was okay. I'm wrong about him just becoming Christian. He had been Christian around the time, about 7 years by the time that book came out. So I take it back. It was 1938, so it was close to the 40s. You were right about that.
Thank you for making me doubt myself.
Yeah.
Paralandra was 43.
See, okay, I'd say it was the 40s.
Hideous Strength.
Narnia that far after this, was it? I thought Narnia was actually pretty close.
I don't know if it was that close.
One of the Narnias I thought was 45.
It might be.
I could be wrong, but I swear I thought one of them was 45.
Apparently, he originally conceived of the Chronicles of Narnia in 39, but he didn't write the first book until 49.
Okay.
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was 49. So 4 years after he finished the Space Trilogy, he started the Chronicles of Narnia. Although what's funny is the longest book had the shortest writing time. He did Paralandra about 4 years after he finished Out of the Silent Planet, and then 2 years later, that Hideous Strength comes out. So kind of a rushed time frame, but a long book. Kind of weird. All right. Well, anyways,
you can kind of see that in his writing of that story, though.
That it was quicker.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he literally wrote it between 43 and 45. What's going on under 1943 to 1945?
I have no idea, Chris.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious. Let me double check my thought process here and make sure I'm not a crazy person. Yeah, I mean he finished it right around the end of World War II.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. I was like, oh no, am I wrong?
I was wondering why,
I was wondering why you doubted yourself.
Yeah.
I was doubting myself for a second there. All right. So after Paralandra, which you get the biggest of the three and the longest book I believe C.S. Lewis has ever written.
Yep.
It's his best book because of it, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Like this book, you could read with no previous knowledge whatsoever.
That's why when Will said that you could read them backwards, I am inclined to agree that you could read the Hideous Strength first and then read Paralandra to get the background on who the Pendragon is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could. That's true.
Yeah.
And if you really like the series, then you can,
and you want to torture your eyes, brain, life in general.
Or if you really like otters.
And you got an otter fetish.
Yes.
Go read Out of Asylum Planet. If you look at otters and you're like, why are they so short? They could be longer. I'm gonna go read that book.
Maybe they could go and fight creatures in the water that are way bigger than you think they are.
Yeah, maybe they could throw some spears, sing some poetry. Who knows?
So would you? Let me ask you this: would you agree with me that Screwtape Letters could easily fit into the world of That Hideous Strength, or even maybe Paralandra? The concepts that are in it.
That Hideous Strength, not Paralandra.
Yeah, maybe it's a little strange though because of the way that he sets up like what the gods and angels and stuff are. Whereas the Screwtape Letters is very clearly supposed to be Christian demons.
Yeah.
So I can see how it's still
altering, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reason I asked about Paralandra is because you've got Weston, who is literally like the little devil on the shoulder trying to tempt Eve, and you've got the only difference is you've got like the guardian angel aspect of Ransom fighting against the devil.
I mean, there is a guardian angel technically
in Screwtape.
Yeah,
that's true. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, like, I think Screwtape pairs nicely with this trilogy. Like, I would almost say, if you're gonna read the trilogy, you should read Screwtape Letters before or after it too.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I think you should just read that book in general.
Yeah, well, you should. I agree. But I think the book does pair nicely with the trilogy, and it's.
It puts you. The trilogy does put you in a nice mindset for the Screwtape Letters.
Yeah,
maybe.
Fair enough.
I would say that over the Screwtape Letters, putting you in the mindset for.
Especially when you get to see the slow fall of the husband in That Hideous Strength, as he's like slowly wrapped into the fingers of, the anti-Christian group known as the Nice.
Yeah.
I almost wish that the concepts in That Hideous Strength would have been expanded in multiple novels. You could have done a trilogy just on the third book.
I mean, you really could have explored the beginnings of Nice.
Right.
The implementation of Nice, and then the fall of Nice pretty easily.
Yeah, that's the only one that's a proper story. So it just overall read so much better, and I would have loved it him to expand on. It's the same thing as the Narnia books, though. He just made a longer Narnia book.
Yeah. Every single one of those Narnia books is great because they're in a universe that has endless stories, which is why he could have expanded on every single one of them. Yep. Just like with That Hideous Strength, it's a great story, but it's within a world where he just never expanded the story account, right? Like, it's exactly the same type of world that Narnia is. It's just one book.
Yeah.
So, as far as the whole trilogy goes, I think you would argue that there's no need to read Out of the Silent Planet.
No, there's none.
Unless you're
really curious.
Unless you really want that background. But as far as Paralandra and
because let's be honest. Let's be honest real quick. Even when it comes time to, maybe I'm being a little bit hasty with that statement because I read That Hideous Strength with the knowledge of everything from the other books. I'm trying to think right now if there's anything in there that would make it harder to understand.
No, I feel like the gods and stuff are explained in the other books.
Yeah, I don't know if the Osiris are really Venus and Mars are really needed to be understood in Out of a Silent. In That Hideous Strength, they just show up to like empower them, or they're very minor role characters. So
what backgrounds are you missing if you don't read Out of the Silent Planet? You're missing the conversation with
Mars. You're missing out on who Mars is.
Right, but you're also going to miss out on two characters that carry over. Weston, Divine.
You don't need Weston.
Divine's in the third book.
you need Divine potentially, but Divine's character development.
Weston is in Paralandra, like the bulk of it.
Out of a Silent Planet is more okay. Let me put it this way: Out of a Silent Planet is more important for Paralandra. It is not important for the Hideous Strength at all, because even Divine does not need to be introduced, because Divine is not the same character in that Hideous Strength. He's not even called Divine. He's called
changed his name to Feverstone.
Yeah. So it's irrelevant, right? There's one comment about how they're missing Weston. So which whatever. You would be missing context for Paralandra. That's it. That's the only thing.
Okay, so then let's slice that one out. So you're missing a little bit of context. What do you lose from that Hideous Strength if you cut Paralandra?
Who Venus and Mars are again. That's it.
Yeah.
And then an explanation of why the Pendragon Ransom is the way he is.
Mm-hmm. That you would lose out on his injury too.
Yeah, but you don't need to know this. I guess. Not really. It's actually, the story might be almost better if you don't know the backstory, because then you are in the same place as Jane.
And then you learn about Arthur at the end too. Apparently, he's the king on the planet.
So a part of me almost is, I wish I could experience reading that Hideous Strength without the other two, just so I could get that perspective. Because I'm actually convinced now that I don't think you need to read the other two to read that Hideous Strength.
Now, which ones are worth reading? You think Paralandra's worth reading still, though?
Because Paralandra's worth reading, I think you almost need to read Out of Silent Planet still, as much as I hate to say it.
So you think it would almost be better if you read that Hideous Strength first?
Well, maybe just read a summary of that Hideous Strength, or I'm sorry, of Out of the Silent Planet, and then Paralandra, and then Hideous Strength.
Because, like he says, it's important to understand who Weston is for Paralandra. That's the problem.
Well, what if you read that Hideous Strength first, and then you go back and read Out of the Silent Planet and Paralandra in order?
Yeah,
because
I think that's the only way to. I think that's the only way to sweeten the concept of reading Out of a Silent Planet. That it really should never have been the first book. It's such a bad first book.
And I feel like the only way you recognize the value of that book is if you've already read the second book.
Yes, that's the problem. So what you do is you read that Hideous Strength first, enjoy the experience of what the story is. Lewis's greatest, one of his best books he's written as far as fiction goes. Mm-hmm. And then you take the bitter pill that you have to take that is Out of a Silent Planet, and then you get rewarded with a good experience of reading Paralandra and closing the loop on understanding things about that Hideous Strength. I think that might actually be the prime way to read it.
I could agree to that.
So in a couple of years, when I feel like rereading this experience again, I'll try it that way.
Actually, this is the first year that I've really found myself rereading old books.
Really?
And part of it, I really don't read books twice. Up until like now. Now I do, but
I would I've recycled through books before. If it's been like a couple of years, I'll go, if I liked the book enough, I'll reread it. I mean, I've reread the Harry Potter books a couple times.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I've read a couple times.
I'm definitely rereading
Narnia
the Dune
is
books
now a couple times.
I'll probably reread the first Dune book.
I would reread
more out of that.
Yeah, you're gonna agree with me when you get to the next trilogy that you're gonna want to reread it, because there's a lot going on, and you don't. I need to reread it. It's basically
I would reread A Song of Fire and Ice once more books come out.
There's just such a long break between the books.
Yeah, well, I mean, that one's one of those scenarios where it's kind of like you don't want to reread it again until another book is out anyway, but it's a series well worth rereading.
Yes. The thing is, there's like 4,000 plot lines, so you have to, and you want to wrap up. So,
but the issue is if you reread it before the new book comes out, you're just like,
you're still stuck.
Yeah, you don't. It's because then eventually you'll forget some shit anyway by the time the next book comes out. So,
yeah, like so. Here's a funny story. I just recently discovered that a book I read like 4 years ago had a sequel that almost nobody's read. I've looked up, like I scoured the internet, and I found out that this book had a sequel that there's like 2 reviews on the whole internet. And I'm like, what the heck? Like nobody has read this thing?
The Bible too.
Yeah, the Bible too. Bible too. No. The New Testament. No, there's a book called Trinity by Leon Uris, and there's a second book in that series called Redemption. And it's apparently about the descendants of the characters from the first book. And it has like 0 love on the internet. So I'm like, all right, well, I found a cheap version of it, and it's actually signed by the author, and I bought it. So I'm going to finally read the second half of that series, apparently.
I'm not going to lie, though, right now, a couple books that have me a little annoyed that they came out with a new one to add. Like the new Inkheart book that's coming out.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little annoying, just because.
Wasn't the series wrapped up nicely?
Maybe. It's been so long since I read them that I think I've forgotten. But I enjoyed those ones. I would actually reread those. Maybe I should consider that.
Yeah, I read the first book just
maybe
recently.
Andrew should put the Inkheart books as his next choice instead of all these government philosophies.
I didn't put government philosophies as the next one. The next one's different than that.
I forget which one you picked next. Wasn't it Stoics?
No, Stoics isn't next. There's a different one. It's Andrew Clavin's book.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I tried to get on from the library, and they didn't have it.
Yeah. It's about
it's art and stuff, right?
It's about the novels recreating a lot of the biblical narratives.
So I'm sure the Chronicles of Narnia will get mentioned in there.
I don't think it is about that. It's more so about like when they started the whole atheism thing of killing God with Nietzsche and all that, killing God.
Oh,
it's about how like with Frankenstein and stuff they started recreating those same like what is God narratives in stories.
That makes sense.
And poetry and stuff. So no, that one's so that one's different. It sounded like an interesting perspective, so I wanted to read the book, and it was a good excuse.
Oh, that's a good segue, though. Do you know how I found out about the space trilogy in the first place?
How?
Andrew Clavin. It showed up in my YouTube feed one day, and it was like, you should read this book. And I was like, well, I don't really read, because I wasn't really reading at the time. Like
I don't read.
Maybe 4 books a year. So,
I'm illiterate, boys.
So I clicked on the video, and he literally said, I don't care if you read all 3 books in this series, but you should read that Hideous Strength because it's a good commentary on progressivism.
That's exactly the right perspective. No, I mean,
and that was what he said, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to read just the 3rd book because that's just not who I am. So
let's be honest, though, that book is timelessly accurate about lefties. All right.
Yeah.
About big government.
About progressives and big government.
Well, I mean, about tyrants, people who think there's a one-size-fits-all,
and the dangers of like
to control shit. That's
the dangers of science for the sake of science as well.
I mean, is it even science? I feel like
it's just power in general.
It's power. It's the nature.
That's true because their experiments have nothing to do with forwarding science in any way, shape, or form.
But you can do with religion too, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's not science. It's not religion. It's narratives that sway people. That's it.
Yep.
It's how you can sway people to do what you want.
You could swap the Science Club of Nice with any other club, and it would still work.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the Catholic Church.
I knew you were going to say that first.
Freemasons.
Always stirring that pot.
You just had to do that, didn't
you? I'm joking. Clearly, it's the orthodoxy that's the problem. Just kidding.
Clearly, it's all the dudes in the giant white cloth sheets that hang out in the South.
Holy shucks.
Those guys are terrible.
I think one of the biggest groups is in our state.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wait, when you say our state, are you talking about the state you're going from or the state you're going to?
Yeah, the one I'm going from.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't realize.
I know they got some
Casper
big
the
militias
Ghost
in
Club
that
was
state
that big.
too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the Casper the Ghost fan club was that big.
The Grand Wizard or whatever actually lived in the town that I live in right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Keep him away from nice society.
Yeah.
I think he's already a member of Nice. I don't know what you're talking about.
He is the leader.
Like I think that there's a clear, what's the right word, correlation you could make between pure ideology and power, and how you can easily drive a pure ideological group to a tyrant status once they attain power.
Okay. Think about this. Think about this, right? Someone's ideological about it. They're convinced that they're right. If they ever have the power, they're going to try to implement it.
Yep.
Power also attracts those people in general because they like to get their way. They think they have the answers. It's a hubris question, right?
Ego, pride.
Comes down to hubris. So wherever you have power, you'll have hubris.
Yep.
All right. So obviously, as far as ranking the books, I think it's pretty clear. We all kind of agree on this.
5 for.
No. I meant which one's the best. Obviously, the Hideous Strength's the best.
Well, we did a whole ranking tier system last time where we ranked them relative to each other.
But there's only 3 of them, so.
Yeah. So.
You want to do that?
That Hideous Strength gets.
All right. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can
you
find
don't
what we
need
did.
to bring up the chart. We can do it verbally.
Yeah, but we had like tiers and everything. You wanted to do that.
5, and then let's see. What would I put Paralandra?
Relatively, it's a 3.
Yeah.
And then 0.
0?
I'd give it a 2.
You gave the last battle a 1.
Okay, true. A 0. In
0.
Yeah, ranking the. No, I don't know what. Man, that's actually hard. Which one did I dislike more? There is that cool scene where the dragons are killing the planet. So, yeah, this is a 0.
Okay, I've got the tier maker. Hold on. We can do it. All right, let's see.
Because remember last time we had to argue about where you placed the silver chair because you wanted to place the last battle as a 1.
Yes. Yep.
All right, here we go. So this has got a whole bunch of other C.S. Lewis books on here, so we're just gonna stick to the.
I'm so confused as to the what. Why is there?
Well, we can change the ratings, but I'm gonna get rid of this one.
What the heck's an S+? I'm so confused.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but
that's where Dune goes.
S+. What
the hell? Why is it red on top too? That's like a negative. This.
Oh, cut it out,
bro.
We'll make it pink just for you.
Oh, fine.
Oh. Five.
Oh man.
4.
Doing it live. Just doing it live.
Yep.
3.
Our poor listeners who aren't watching the video. Yep. Chris is struggle bussing and making a whole tier list, and it's like he's typing with one finger at a time instead of fluently.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right.
I've seen kindergartners type better than this, Chris, and I mean like kindergartners from the 90s. Okay.
Yeah, but you're we'll do black for 0. Like this is like the do not read tier.
This is death tier, okay? Yeah. And that is where Out of a Silent Planet is for me.
Okay, so let's put them on here. So you want to put Out of the Silent Planet at 0? Do not read.
I would not recommend this book to anybody.
And it's not first, okay? Like that's the problem. It's not first.
Okay, well I'm gonna give it a 2 to bring it up to the average of a 1. I don't hate the book. All right. How about Paralandra?
Hideous Strength goes all the way to 5.
Well, I know that you want that one to be a 5.
Yeah. Put it on 5. Yep.
All right.
Well, if you're gonna put it as a 1, that means Paralandra has to be a 4.
I would agree. I think Paralandra's a 4 anyways.
I don't.
In comparison to these 3.
In comparison to these 3.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep it as a 4.
Now, let's do the super special tier ranking and throw the Narnia books in here for shits and giggles.
I don't have the Narnia ones on here apparently.
Oh, Last Battle has to be in the black.
Really? No, it's the same. It's the same.
I wonder if you can add them on here. No, apparently. Oh yeah, no. It says add additional images to your tier list. I'm not gonna sit here and do that. That'd be too much pain. That'd be a lot of work.
Why does this not have the Narnia?
I don't know. It's got everything except the Narnia books on here. Well, where does Screwtape Letters land? Screwtape Letters is a 5.
Oh yeah, it's a 5.
Yeah.
Ooh, have you guys read Abolition? So I feel like after like seeing Chronicles of Narnia and the Space Trilogy, I feel like he took a specific subject in each of these books and like created something out of them. Like Abolition of Man is literally based on the Nice Society trying to take science way too far and abolish mankind. I mean, this book literally is about
a lot of people in science want to do. I don't think it's based on nice.
No, but what I'm saying is like it feels like he takes like little concepts in his his fictional books and makes large like a whole discussion about those things outside. It's almost like all of his books are supporting his other books. It's interesting.
I mean, you could just say that the things that pissed him off in academia were what he based all of.
Yeah, he get mad with one professor at a time, and then decided to make a book.
He's like, "You're in the nice. You're in the nice. You're in the nice."
Yeah, or he's like, "You're so nice," and then he writes a book. It's like the original Taylor Swift.
Oh my gosh! What about Taylor Swift?
I said he's the original Taylor Swift. Writing shit stories all the time.
Yeah, kind of was.
He's like, she's a cheerleader.
I just love though how he's like, some of you might think this is about you. It is, but I'm not going to say it is. Pure coincidence. The way it freaking opens with in that book, it's hilarious.
Hold on, I want to see if we can get the actual like here.
Dude, it's basically what I just said though. That's the proper way to frame it.
Let's see. He actually talks about Abolition of Man in this book. I didn't realize that in the intro. He says Edgestowe has no resemblance, save for smallness, to Durham, a university with which the only connection I've had was entirely pleasant.
Let's be honest. C.S. Lewis is a little bit of a passive-aggressive bastard. Kind of is.
I do love this one line here. It says, "Those who would like to learn further about Numenor and the true West must await the publication of the much that still exists only in the manuscript of my friend Professor J.R.R. Tolkien." He literally puts Middle Earth in this book.
Yeah. Who is also, by the way, the person that I wrote the first book about when he went and did hallucinogens in the forest. And
pipeweed.
And what he doesn't want you to know is that his first language he created was this one about otters and not actually Elvish.
Yeah. C.S. Lewis goes over to Tolkien's house one day.
You know what? I want someone to analyze if the language of the otters is from the same language tree as the Elvish.
Maybe it is.
Or the orc, maybe.
This is just C.S. Lewis being like, I can do philology too.
Yeah, let's go analyze it and see. Was the otter in the same language tree language family as Orcish, the Orc languages, or Elvish?
Clearly, Gandalf escaped Middle Earth to become Merlin in the Space Trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I want you guys to do something here real quick. What would you say your favorite part of the Space Trilogy, like a specific scene, not book?
Oh man,
what was your favorite part of these books?
It's been so long already, man. Come on. Okay, my favorite one was in Paralandra, and it was about how people need to appreciate what they have instead of focusing on the thing that was expected, what they wanted.
Oh, like living in the immediate moment. Like, I have this fruit, I should enjoy it instead of thinking about the next fruit.
Yeah, like the whole concept of appreciating the thing that was granted to you, the good that you received, instead of focusing on the good that you were originally thinking of but did not receive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
good received as opposed to the good of the potential future, or the good you didn't get.
yeah, it's like so many people focus on, like, it's about having built expectations to a point that you ruin the good that you do have.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So that was the concept that I thought was really good. I think it was probably his most one of his more enlightened takes.
Okay.
There's also that. I mean, they have a similar discussion in Out of the Silent Planet, actually, where he asks the Harasa about why they don't yearn for the past or the thing they had. He's like, well, we have the now and we have our stories. Why would we care about going back to those?
Yeah, it's a theme.
Them.
It's a theme in the books. I think they also have something about it potentially in The Hideous Strength too.
Yeah, because you talk about Jane trying to essentially keep reclaiming her PhD in the beginning, where really what she wants to start is a family, and she rejects that because of feminism, but that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
What about you, Will?
Honestly, I was going to pick Pearlander too. I'm trying to think which conversation is the most interesting, but just seeing the temptation in real time was heart-wrenching. I remember when I first read it, I actually texted Chris and was like, this is actually a really emotional book in some scenes.
The part about vanity was pretty good.
Yeah. It's funny that I still think The Hideous Strength is the better book, but there was some really, really good scenes in Pearlander.
Okay, as far as stories go.
Yes, because it's an actual story.
Is far better. Pearlander, though, is very thought-provoking.
Yes, there you go.
On a level that is far better than any of the other books.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Pearlander kind of tugs at similar concepts as Screwtape Letters does.
It does. It does. But the ending sucks. That's all. That's my repeated complaint about Pearlander.
Every time you think he's done describing the heavens, and he's like, and then they strung out into infinitesimal.
Yeah, it's like. But even the whole race on the stupid seahorses with what's his stupid Weston,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, man! Like that entire journey to get there was so torture. Because the story's over. The story's literally over at that point. And he draws it out in the worst way.
I would say my favorite part, well, the fact that she calls him a piebald man, that's hilarious. But my favorite part
is that they were naked.
Trilogy. No. That's why you can only make an HBO special about this book. But
that should be hilarious too.
To see the whole, I mean, you know how hard it would be to film this thing, like legit to the character where it's like everybody's naked. Like you could not do this. HBO would be the only way, and C.S. Lewis would hate it if they did that. Why? You'd be so mad. You'd be like, really? HBO?
Hey, he wrote it. He wrote it. People were imagining it.
Yep.
That was the pornography of the day, Chris. I don't know what you're.
This book. That might be a good testament to the innocence of the book. Is the fact that I never thought about the fact they were nude until I read it the second time and I realized they were nude.
I think it was pretty obvious.
I mean, he says it.
It's not something though that I was thinking about. And then the second time through,
titties are hot.
Oh, wait a second here. Everybody's naked. I would say my favorite part of the books. Actually, since you guys both picked Pearlander, I'm gonna pick my favorite scene from the third book. I love that they have the bear just like waltz in.
Oh yeah,
just wreck everybody in that little room with the face, and that is just fantastic. It's like of all the things, it's the bear. He just
that's how Tolkien got inspired to do it in The Hobbit.
I wouldn't be surprised if they like back and forth a little bit on some of this stuff, but it's just good.
Oh, you have a bear? I have a bear man. What are you gonna do about
That's
that?
bigger than a real bear.
Yeah. But he's also a human, so...
What would you say is the worst part of the writing in this trilogy?
I have a Silent Planet. I don't know.
Yeah, but what a... Like, I just... You're going to say you're
the complete
Uncanny
lack of
Valley.
No, I can't. I won't repeat it. I won't repeat it.
Then I won't do that.
I've said it twice already, so you just skip me.
Well, do you have something different to talk about, or no?
No, it's out of the Silent Planet. The complete lack of story structure and the weirdness of it. Yeah, I just didn't like the book.
Also, there's the weird random third race. I'll say that bothered me.
Yeah,
the
plays no active part whatsoever.
Like they're in there for like 5 seconds, and then it's like, nope, never mind.
Like,
this read like
there was this
first
insect
draft
frog thing that I also thought of, but screw that.
Yeah.
I feel like he had a different path he wanted to go with these books, and then completely changed direction during World War II.
Maybe.
My biggest complaint in these books is actually, if you're gonna make this a trilogy, why did you rename every character in that Hideous Strength? Like, that makes it to the point where it's almost
because he realized the first two didn't make any sense and didn't matter.
I'm just saying, like, if it is literally a trilogy, we should not be changing everybody's names.
Well, in fairness, changing Ransom's name was not a big deal. It was explained in the book.
Yeah, but all the bad guys, Divine didn't need to be Feverstone. He could have been Divine.
What you're talking about is there's only 2 guys that changed their names.
Right, but the whole book, you're like, who the heck is Feverstone? And then it's like, oh, he's Divine. Like, wait a second. So we already know the characterization of this person. Why on earth it's like, there's no point. Just make it Divine.
Changed it. I mean, I think then he changed his name to be more like, if he explained it better.
Yeah, he just does a horrible job explaining that.
Yeah, I mean, because they explained Ransom's.
Yeah, because he's the.
Also, he's in hiding, by the way.
I don't mind that Ransom's name is changed. I think
what I'm saying is he's in hiding. Like, literally, they talk about how they wish they knew where Ransom was. The nice guys talk about that.
I'm not arguing against that. And they said they wanted him because he's a philologist. He could help to translate Merlin. You know what? I take back what I said. My favorite scene is the drunk, naked guy they pulled in as Merlin. Because that is hilarious. And he's just like, don't trust the foreigners. Like, what? Like, what? And they just keep bringing in, like, can you imagine the stupor you would be in if, like, they pick you up drunk off the side of the road, throw you in this room, keep feeding you like you're some kind of king, and then they bring in some random guy who speaks a language you don't understand. He's like, it's like, what the? They're like, nope, get him out of here. Next one, bring in some guy who speaks like Russian. He's like, like, what? Nope. Like, it's just like over. Next guy. Like, what?
I would play along too if I was getting fed all that prime food.
Meanwhile, Mark Studdock's in there like, this guy stinks so bad. Oh, I love that. That's
I thought your favorite part of this story was just the otters. I thought you had a thing for them.
No,
he doesn't want to admit it.
You seem to like him a lot.
Rawr.
No.
Oh yeah, I forgot they're the elongated beavers.
Do you know what you just said? That could be a clip on its own. The elongated beaver.
Yeah.
That sounds so wrong.
I mean, that's what they are. It's elongated beavers, Chris. I don't know what you want me to say.
And Chris wants us to believe that he didn't recognize that they were naked in Perelandra. My ass, Chris. Okay.
All right. How are we going to close this thing out? How are we closing this out?
Everyone, Chris has a dirty mind. That's all you need to know.
Nobody misunderstood that. All right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, hey, I felt like the disclaimer that should just be put in bold every time we start this podcast.
Hey, I'm not the one that said it. Will did.
He said nothing wrong. He said words of English.
Listen, I can tell you this: we are probably done. We are probably done covering C.S. Lewis books for a while.
I know you ran out of photos of the man from your private collection.
Well, when you go to Google and you have to get to page 5 to get a picture that we haven't used yet, that's pretty ridiculous.
I mean, to be fair, he's pretty damn old. So
yeah, like they're all black and white pictures. So he's got like 20 that keep circulating around the internet. Anyways, so after this, or how would we rank the trilogy as a whole? Where would you rank the trilogy if you had to rank the whole trilogy together?
3.
I'm probably giving it a 4 still. The second and third book pull it out of the gutter quite a ways.
You make me conflicted on this. I think I'm stuck between a 3 and a 4 right now. I can't express how. Okay, it has to be a 3. I have to default to 3, like Will, because the average person is going to see 1, 2, 3 and read Out of a Silent Planet first, and it's such a shitty way to read this book. It's such a bad first book.
At least it's only 158 pages.
No, but it reads like it's 300. Dude, it's a third of the size of that Hideous Strength, and it took me the same amount of effing time to read it. That's how bad it was.
Oh my.
Okay. That's not because the pages were falling out. It's literally I did not enjoy it.
Although the pages were falling out, to be fair.
Yes. And it had me really thinking, like, I could be done with this book so much sooner if I took it time. Divine intervention on the.
All right, so you're doing a 3. I'm doing a 4. What about you, Will?
3.
3. Okay, so averaging that out, that's like what, 3.33?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right. So technically speaking, we think that the whole of the Space Trilogy is worse than the whole of Narnia, but that the third book is better than all of the Narnia books. Or equivalent to Horse and His Boy, I guess.
The problem is
the level it's written at.
Yeah, the problem is you're describing 2 different
genres: young adult fiction versus adult fiction.
Yeah, and with that in mind, I would say that the Horse and His Boy one is. I would say that the Horse and His Boy is a 5. 100%, and
so is the third book.
Yeah, for the age bracket and genre that it's written in, I would say that.
Okay.
I'm also though a big fan still of The Silver Chair too.
The Silver Chair is awesome. It's like the second time reading through that, I was like, "Dang, this is a good book."
Yeah, no, The Silver Chair I think is the most underrated of the Narnia books, actually.
Probably. Like you never hear anybody talking about it.
No, and it's one that looking back on it, I didn't appreciate it at all. That one and The Magician's Nephew, I did not appreciate enough.
I feel like those. Well, for sure, The Magician's Nephew is written at a higher level, like the upper end of a young adult fiction as far as the age bracket goes. Because my son did enjoy it, but I think he's enjoying The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe a lot more.
Yeah, the Magician's Nephew is much slower.
Way slower.
Yeah, but as far as being a complete story, it is. The Silver Chair though is also, so that's why I like to keep there's a tier level that we did, right, and that's why the Silver Chair was also above the Dawn Treader.
Well, yeah, Dawn Treader's. I mean, it's a good book, but that is such an incomplete story.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've rated this series enough at this point. Let's just give a preview of what's coming next. So next week, I think only Andrew and I will be covering a book called Lockdown with the Devil by Kennedy Hall. And then what series are we covering next?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Doing Tolkien next.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Fellowship will be following Lockdown with the Devil. And then the next chosen book by Andrew is...
Isn't it Truth and Beauty by Andrew Klavan? It is
Truth and Beauty by Andrew Klavan. And then following that, we will hit Frank Herbert's book with Will, Dune Messiah.
Yeah.
Will you be back in time for that one, Will?
Isn't that like 6 months away? Probably.
No.
It's in May.
Maybe not. Damn it.
I'm sure you could figure out internet by then at least.
Yeah, it's tough.
You'll call in.
Yeah, I'll call in from the woods like Chris has done.
Well, how long are you going to be out? We'll talk offline because that's 2 months away.
Yeah,
that's not next month. It's 2 months.
All right, I think we've given enough of a look ahead to people.
Yep. Agreed.
Because you also skipped out on the next series after that one, which we'd be doing Two Towers in there too.
Yeah, it'd be Two Towers. We did Lord of the Rings, so it'd be Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King, recap of the entire series, and then after that we do Foundation. So that'll be fun. But anyways, as always, I'm Chris,
and I'm Will,
and I'm Andrew.
Return of the King. Just kidding. End of the Space Trilogy.